Excellent. Um, I try to be as additional as I possibly can. And that's finance to a lot of people. That is not the area that I'm in, and yet I do certainly know that financial uh, knowledge is helpful and is a huge determining factor in our lives. And I was following the reparations person dealing with that, and I've subscribed to that channel, ADOS, and hopefully, prayerfully, and whatever else financially that comes around, because I've spoken uh, to the point, straight to the point about it and things like that. So, in the issue that he dealt with today, Blackish, I've dealt with that, and it's a great point that he made. And again, I don't agree with a lot of things that people say, and yet, when it comes down to who we are, what we have to do in this country, and the negative, degrading lifestyle that we've had to live and go through and put up on us by people with money and other people of color. I do recognize that, but some of the language I myself would like to um, have simpler people to understand a whole lot more, because sometimes our people do speak the language that a lot of people do not know, and yet that's no excuse for us not to ask for something. You don't have to be a Harvard graduate to know that what you owed reparations simply by that. And yet a lot of African and black people are what he called American descendants of slavery do not read well and cannot comprehend a written statement and things like that. So when the brother equates our inability to make things happen under that tutelage, it's kind of difficult, because the language he speaks, I don't know where he was educated or whatever, but a lot of people don't understand that. Sometimes things he's saying I don't understand as well. And yet I do totally uh, know what he's talking about, based on on the things that I've had to go through. So, but we have people like Joseph Jett that I deal with, and how he came up, and he explained his story, who he came up, and all of that, and his parentage and how he was raised, and doing those things. And so that's maybe I'm a little bit older than him, even Barack Obama. I'm close to his age, and so things that he does and has done. So and one of the things that speaking of Blackish, and I've dealt with that as far as the health issue, environmental issues, and definitely I know who Tracy Ellis Ross, or Tracy Silverstein. Her dad was a shipping tycoon, and definitely she's not representing us in the financial situation that we are in, as far as the being able to come up, being able to understand, and being able to participate legitimately. I mean, we're talking about legitimately, and the way he's putting it, how he's putting it, is very, very well. And I try to keep it a little bit more simple, or the simple-minded people, to try to get to that point as well. And I'm a bit too aesthetic to speak that language that he does, and yet I try to get to the people with this information as possible. Mine is more of health-related issues. If people are certainly not in a healthy state of in healthy state in their brain function, then they're not going to lean towards reparation in that language, because they don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. What they would rather do is to ignore all things, and to beat down on the sad situation that they're in, and religiously, parenthetically, and all of that. And he explained how his parents are. So, but I am totally in agreement with that. We are owed that money, and so things that I say and do I try to move people in that with being so aesthetic because people want to be entertained and cannot escape entertainment state of mind because they're so locked into that. People are so ignorant to the situations that I have to. I feel like as if I have to go this route and to make it a long story and add stories in with it. So, but how I grew up, I was exposed to a lot of things and should be a lot further along based on that. I don't feel as if I was locked out, and yet I understand his financial information that it would show. Say, if I was to be in his face and to say that, he would show me like, brother, no, you tripping because look at this, where you came from, how much money your parents make, how much, and I would have to be in agreement with that because my parents' salaries, their parents' salaries showed that we were totally locked out. But in my brain function, that is not important to me. That doesn't make me who I am and what I should be doing, could be doing, based on my aesthetic viewpoints. Okay, so I'm not in disagreement with him, but I'm not in totally agreement with him. But I'm with him on us moving forward. Now, where I come in with that is, and I enjoy how he uses what he uses in the sophisticated method in which he does it, and so I came up with white flight. I came up in the projects and all of that, but felt, to someone on that level, I would be thinking in a naive type situation is to thinking that I had opportunities, which I didn't go to the finest schools and all that, but I don't feel as if that is a degradation or something that I need to feel as if I'm suffering from. Okay, so I'm one person, and not very many people get a chance to have that. So, but I feel as if my gifts show me other things other than that, right? So yeah, but the terminology that I came through and was able to use is white flight, and I was privy to a lot of people speaking the language that he's speaking and saying things and showing Stokely Carmichael, all the great orators gave us this very language and showed us how to look at things financially like that. So I understand him. We were shown in a different way, like John Henry Clark and all the people who showed us that the industries and what we call and Black Panthers and all of those, they knew how to show ownership of things, who owned those, and saying about John Henry Clark, he would look at who owned certain companies and all of that and tell us, okay, this person owns that and this person owns that. So the young man is kind of coming through with that same information, okay? And yet that's not where I am with this. So, and yet I can work with that and to speak to that and to know that we're moving forward in what he's saying, totally moving forward. He's a young Mustang and he's young, and so I have to respect that. I have to respect that totally, how he's bringing it, what he's doing, and I do. So in that, I have to make room and to add on to that, to pile on that shit. Because it's going to escalate. We need to pile on to whatever he's doing. That's not where I am, but I know to pile on to that. And the guy he talked to at the Urban League is somewhat closer to my age, who presenting things in a sophisticated manner in which he would. So I appreciate that. And still, even that guy, the president, I'm not where he is and don't want to be because that's not what I do, okay? And yeah, I understand everything they both are saying. So yeah, I came up with, and speaking of the language, white flight. White folks thinking that because a Black person moves in their community, oh, we got to move out and all of that, and you're not good enough for me. So, and in the presentation of who I am, what I am, it's based on, oh, come on, you tripping? As long as I'm eating and all that, I'm good. So, and yet today's society, the white flight goes into an economic thing called inversion, where these corporations because not wanting to pay a certain amount of taxes for doing business, they go to another country. And that country is the European white folks type of country. $19.5 billion out of the economy, and included in that is the our ability to be locked out of that, and that takes even more money out, which our ancestors put this money into this country, slaved for it, worked for it, and what right do they have to take it and run off because they don't want to pay a few dollars in taxes? That is some of the most ill-fated situations that we can think of. And I want to say some more terrible things about that, and yet these are the situations that we have to deal with, okay? $19.5 billion lost in the economy that these people think they have the right to take after enslaving our ancestors, after their people enslaved our families and say they want to run off to another white European country, which was part of the slavery of our country, all the people that enslaved us, all the countries that did that. And so we have that information of who they were and what those countries are. And right now, the people who came up with the opioids, see, they're trying to hide their money, billions of dollars in the investments overseas, Swiss bank accounts and all of that, see? And so that goes into that as well. And trying to run off with that money, and what right do you have to do that? And so if we really had that 1866 civil rights law in effect, they would not be able to do that, possibly would not want to do that, because based on that, they could do business with other black corporations, black companies, and could possibly not have to pay so many taxes to the so-called government. Or if we were not giving them the money, we could say, no, you cannot do that, and we can chase them down with that and say, this is what you did, this is what this money belongs here. And as a matter of fact, we helped to enrich those countries too, because the information is there. Our ancestors were shipped to those countries as well. So it doesn't matter where you go, you're not going to escape, because these are the names, these are the countries we were shipped off to as well. But in this country, here, in this country, that money shouldn't be so easily taken off, shipped off, because of the attitude that these people want to have and try to have in that. So that's the issue with that. And the financial situation is a very important one. And it's just that's not the first and foremost thing. So it's like, I know someone has that issue, so I will let them have that, and my thing is the other issue, and try to bring about so many other things on the other side, but support that, and to try to bring people on board with my aesthetic value and what I have to say, and to allow them to see that their financial situation will work out. But you have to start with something simple, because these are simple-minded people who don't want to see that. But yet, yes, the inversion, people trying to escape, run off with that, and a economic situation which is agriculture, and our agriculture, the commodity market, all of that, the trading, that's where we built this country. The backs of our ancestors, and the farming and agricultural thing is where I am, and that's where the money starts. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody is going to eat. So let's eat on that. Let's not be ignorant of that. Let's not starve ourselves on that. So yeah, I'm in total agreement with the financial situation of that and what's going on, because it shows even in that, even on Inversion. So yeah, they are really trying to physically take off and run off with the money, not pay their taxes for something that they didn't earn righteously. It was something that we did, and we're owed that. Whether they want to pay the taxes on it or not, we're owed that.